Hi, good morning. It's Sunday and it's Rima again, and I've come to bring you another little message. And this one is how we do our best, and recognizing that the way that we do our best is that the sweetness really is in the task. And if we don't apply towards a task to do our best, there'll be no sweetness in it, and that's when it becomes a burden. So when we do our best, what we tend to do is we tend to concentrate, don't we? We tend to focus on what it is that we're doing. We put all our heart into what it is that we're doing. We also make sure we've got time allowance to do it properly, to do it properly, and also give ourselves enough time that if there's a mistake, that we can cover our tracks. So when we do our best, our mind is so focused on what we're doing, we're so focused on getting it right, that there's no time to feel the burden of the task. We just want to do it and we're enjoying what it is that we're doing. But the opposite is true when we don't do our best. Then there's no sweetness in the task. When we don't do our best, what we tend to do is we tend to delay the work that we have to do. And we usually delay it because we're thinking, oh, why can't somebody else do it? Especially when it's a menial task. Something small and petty, but it still has to be done. It's a duty, it's a job, it's an errand. It could be emails, it could be cleaning up your kitchen and washing up plates. It could be going to visit an elderly relative who's got dementia and doesn't even recognize you, but you have to sit there for hours and probably feed them. Some of these tasks maybe feel like they're beyond you, depending on who you are. So the more we deliberate, the more we procrastinate, the more burdensome the task becomes. Why? Because we're giving ourselves a lot of time to think about why we don't want to do it. And the more we think about why we don't want to do it, the harder the idea of doing it becomes. When the idea of doing it becomes hard, then when we actually do it, it does feel quite hard. Yeah, it's really not, it's quite a simple job. Half of the time, we turn simple, menial jobs into burdensome tasks. And why? Because sometimes we don't really value just our own presence, just us seeing it. There's some jobs that we do that we don't get the pat on the back, that we don't get the fan club coming after us, that there's no recognition, that there's no reward, that there's no big contract or no big stage show, or just, your wife or somebody else that's going to recognize what it is you're doing, or your husband. There is no recognition. Your children don't recognize it. It's just your daily duty. So in that way, you think, well, okay, you get lazy towards it because you're not inspired by the idea of somebody giving you a pat on the back. And like I said earlier, sometimes we think the task is too beneath us. But the worst thing that we can do when it comes to a task and taking the sweetness out of the task and not doing our best in the task is to try and avoid. The avoidance brings so much more problems. And I want to show you a little boy who took all the sweetness out of every task. This is a small story, or a short story, should I say, about Kweku here in Africa, in Ghana actually. So Kweku lived in the village with his parents, and Kweku was a lazy boy. Everybody knew that Kweku was a lazy boy. So one day his mother was sick and lying in bed, and she said, "Kweku." So he was like, put his blanket over his head, roll over and try to ignore her. "Kweku, I'm sick, get me some water." Water. Why? He should get out of his bed with this sick woman and walk down to the water pipe and pour, then carry it back for her. Kweku just put the sheet over his head and pretend like he didn't hear his mother. So then she got angry in the bed. She said, "Kweku, why are you such a lazy cow?" So Kweku was like, aha, I wish I could be a lazy cow and just sit in the field all day. I wouldn't even have to walk to get my food. I could just munch the grass right around me and do everything in that one spot. Kweku dreamt of being a lazy cow and wished that one day he could be. So as we know in life, what we wish for, we usually get. So one day a genie came to Kweku and says, "I'll give you any wish you want." So Kweku said, "I want to be a lazy cow." So the genie was like, "Are you sure?" So Kwaku says, yes, yes, I want to be a lazy cow. Fast, fast, fast. So the genie was like, okay, whatever you wish for. So Kwaku was turned into a lazy cow and set in the field. So when he was in the field now, it was actually his family's field, his father's field. So when the father saw the cow in the field and tried to move it, and the cow didn't want to move, the father got angry. You lazy cow. He got a stick and started to beat the cow. Then the other children, which is his brothers, started to kick the cow. Come on, lazy cow. Then they piled work on the cow. I was going to say the child. They piled work on the cow. Then the next day they piled more work on it. And the burden was becoming intense. He was getting burdensome work. He was getting beaten. So Kwaku said, this is ridiculous. I was better off when I was being a boy. The life of a lazy cow is not for me. So then happened a few weeks passed by, then the genie came back again. So when the genie was wandering by, Kwaku said, hey genie, I beg you, turn me back into myself again. Turn me back into a little boy. The genie was like, why? I thought you wanted to be a lazy cow. Me, a lazy cow? That nobody doesn't respect me, everybody's kicking and beating me, then they're piling the hardest work on me, every day more work, more work, more work. I was trying to get away from the work. I was trying to avoid the work. Now these people want to kill me with work. The genie says, your wish is granted. So when Kwaku went home this time, he made sure that anytime his family asked him, Kwaku, do this? Kwaku shut up, got the job done, did it perfectly, did it with excellence. So it's the same with us, isn't it? When we avoid our tasks, especially small tasks, especially small chores, when we avoid them, the burden gets heavier, it gets harder, and especially if it comes to our home, just like Kwaku, people will think we're a lazy cow if they come in there and the place is untidy and it's messy and your dishes aren't washed. And then their respect, just like how Kwaku as a lazy cow lost all of his respect, so do we too lose our respect. So what I just want to say to you today is that to know that the sweetness that comes in any task comes in doing our best. It comes in concentrating on the task. It comes in taking the task seriously, even if it's only you and Master God that's going to know that you're doing it. It comes with doing the task quickly so that things do not build up. And it comes with applying our love to the task. But my final message that I want you to take home today is that whenever you have a task that concerns elderly people, disabled people, young children, or vulnerable people in any way that might not even recognize how well or how bad you're treating them, I'm saying when it comes to these circumstances, you do your best. When you approach children, disabled, the elderly, no matter how difficult they are, with a desire to do your best for them, then there's a sweetness that starts to come in that task. Okay? God bless. Enjoy your Sunday.